Hey, Richard, welcome in. Just getting things set up. How's the sound so far? This is Baby's first time on YouTube stream after all, so... I'm working on it. Great is good. I will take great. So we're just going to be sitting back, relaxing, and just kind of waiting for 3 o'clock here. How's your day going so far, Richard? Hey, there we go. Now we've been upgraded to excellent connection. I'll take that. Yes, this means I could probably stop pushing all the buttons and push that button. Get everything to freak out here real quick. Hey, there we go. Now we're in. Doing well. Cooler temps. Nice. I'm not going to say I wish for winter, but let's be completely honest. 40 plus degrees is a little bit much. Especially for prolonged periods of time. There we go. A back scratch, stretch, and away we go. I guess it'll be interesting to see exactly what the mic picks up on a live stream now compared to a recording. Be afraid of what you wish for. No kidding. No kidding. So it's gonna be minus 45, and I'd be like, "This is my fault. I'm sorry. It's all my fault." Oh, well. That's alright. 5 more minutes, we'll get the ball rolling here. It did say 3, so... God forbid we get started early. Never played Wartales? Well, I'll tell you this much. I have played maybe... Oh, what was that? I think about maybe 10 hours into the game, and I think it's actually pretty neat. Does that mean I'm very good at it? No. But it's a very nice little turn-based RPG with an open-world map with fully customizable characters. That I think is actually pretty neat. If I were to say anything, I think it's... Unfortunately, like when this game first came out, there's a lot of hub about it, and I never really got into it. The game is... what is it? 2021? So it's got a couple... DLCs. I don't have any of the DLCs up. Because I wanted to focus strictly on the base game itself. It's not so much Diablo type, but it is turn-based. So you got an open world map. You can move around the world map. You can maintain your party's health and happiness through like armor repairs, camping, making sure everyone gets good meals. There's little side jobs and everything else you can do here. So what we're going to probably do is we're probably just going to get right into it. We're going to start us off with a new game. So that way we can go ahead and kind of break down exactly what's going on, especially seeing something like, for example, those in chat who've never played this game before, never heard of this game before. We can kind of learn together. I do know a little bit, but don't know a whole lot. For those who are going to be joining us, if you're not already lurking, just kind of give you a heads up. Please no backseating on this one. I know there's probably going to be some things that I might miss or some things I might wind up finding out the hard way, but that's the beauty part of playing a game we don't really have a whole lot of experience in, and it's fun to learn. So let's go ahead into the new game. We do have a couple options for setting up a party. So we have apprentice friends looking for an adventure. So we start with increased influence, but we start off with less raw materials. Raw materials are what we use to repair all of our gear after combat. You can buy raw materials, you can generate raw materials. It's not exactly a big thing for being low on raw materials. You do start with a swordsman, archer, ranger, and brute. Swordsman is pretty self-explanatory, sword and board. Archer, again, very self-explanatory, bow and arrow. Ranger, I think thief. That's pretty much it. You got a dagger, and you can do backstabs and everything else like that. And the brute is more of a two-hander weapon specialist. We also have men escorting merchants who lost their employers, so you start out with more crowns, but you start out with less medicine. So medicine is used for restoring lost health. So you have two things to keep in mind when it comes to combat. You have armor stats and you have health. Once your armor breaks, you start taking health damage. Ideally, you want to keep your armor status up as long as possible, so that way you don't have to spend so much on medicine, which is a little bit less than easy to come by. Very, very expensive. Deserters fleeing an abusive captain. Started with more raw materials, but we start out with suspicion. So suspicion is a worldwide, what's the word for it? Status bar, I guess you could say, that the more underhand or devious things you do in the world, the more suspicion you generate. The more suspicion you generate, the more likely that roving bands of bounty hunters might kind of look your way, which kind of turns into more of a, scrap fest, I guess you could say. So there's a couple ways you can play this game. You can play this game, you can play this game however you want. You can be thieves in the night. You can be shady assassins. You can be whatever you want to be. The game punishes you for it, so just kind of keep that in mind. Young farmers looking for a better life, so you get more food, more bread, but your happiness is down. Happiness is very, very important. If your happiness drops too low of a level, you'll wind up having members of your troop leave, which not really ideal in the grand scheme of things, but you're looking to build up your troops so that way they can be high level, great fighters, and it takes time. It's not exactly something that you can just grind away very, very easily. It does take a fair bit of time to get your guys up to the levels. Bandits looking to escape the guards. So we have stolen items, raised chicken, and stolen items cloth. So right off the bat, we're thieves. So we got a brute, 2 rangers and archers. Sounds about right. And a shipwrecked pirate crew. So we might start with more wood and minus 50 fatigue. So right off the bat, we're going to be like super tired. Fatigue also generates how long you can move around on the overworld map without having to stop and camp. If your fatigue gets too high, there's a chance that your party could collapse and die. Fun stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with apprentice friends looking for an adventure. Just because we get a good mix. Companions are used to long walks, so reduce the speed at which the troops' fatigue stacks by 10%, which is very, very good, especially for the amount of time spent traveling on the overworld map. Cunning fighters, we gain more experience in combat and more influence gained after battle. Show incredible resilience, so constitution or health increased by 10%. Excellent at slap games, so our critical damage is increased by 10%. And our quick learners, so experience gained for each profession. Earlier I mentioned that there was a kind of a sub-profession for each person available out there. There's, I think, 9 of these sub-professions you can do. There's miner, blacksmith, cook, tailor, stuff like that. and you can actually craft your own gear. So it's and craft items for your camp and everything else like that. And this is very, very good. But what I think we're going to do is it's kind of a toss up here. We used to long walks. We reduce our fatigue by 10%. Slap games, I know. I do like how it's critical damage for the slap games. And we also have cunning fighters, so we gain more experience in combat and more influence gained. Influence is kind of the world currency. It's not something you spend in shops, but for some actions out there, you can spend influence. When it comes down to special actions like hiring people or having conversations where you can spend influence to influence, I know, oddly enough, certain outcomes. So it's kind of nice to have. I think I'm going to do cunning fighters. Now, with every good thing, there is, of course, naturally a bad thing. So we got to have some sort of a flaw that comes down with everything. So we could have a somewhat meek appearance. So our carrying capacity, like each companion's carrying capacity is reduced by 1. Eternal dissatisfaction. Reduces the troops' happiness by 1 during each rest, so we don't get full rest stats, we get slightly less. Uncommon bout of bad luck, so critical hit reduced by 3%. This one's not so bad. Like you can work this one out with stats and gear. So it's not too bad. Hard time getting up. Danger during rest is increased by 10%. So every time you rest, depending on where you are, there's a certain level of danger presented by the environment. Like say if you rest near to a bandit camp, you're obviously going to have a higher risk of being ambushed while you're resting at night. This just adds a stock 10% right on top of whatever that number is going to be. And of course, a serious lack of self-confidence. Well, willpower reduced by 1. Now, as far as I'm concerned, probably about the easiest one we can deal with is having increased danger during rest. Does that mean there's going to be a high chance of somebody accidentally jumping us while we're trying to sleep? Yes. But that means we just get ambushed and we have a combat situation. I've yet to run into a situation where getting jumped has resulted in life-threatening issues. Now, I can't say one way or the other this would be a good call. We'll have to see how this one goes. So we're going to grab that one. And now we get exploration mode. So, based off the area in the world that we're going to start in, we can either have the system itself kind of adapt to our party levels. So that way we have a consistent experience throughout the entire world, no matter where we're going, where the parties on the map and the enemies we face are all going to be roughly around the same level as us. So it kind of always gives us that challenging experience. And we also have region-locked exploration. So based on whatever region we go into is a set level of enemy levels. So there's the region-locked exploration kind of guides you, I guess you could say, in a certain way throughout the world during the story. The adaptive exploration kind of gives you free reign because everything in the world is going to be based on your party level. Because I have not completed this game and not really spent much time into it, I'm actually going to go into region-locked exploration. The reason behind this one is because I don't want to wind up wandering through something and completely breaking a story element that I was not aware of. That's it. And of course, we have our difficulties. So, combat. Battle. Possibility of losing companions does not scare me. Nope, I'm going to take that. Mainly because the next level is one mistake and you're dead. Again, I haven't spent a whole lot of time in this game, so I'm going to say I've been told many times this is a lot like Battle Brothers, and Battle Brothers is mean. Like it'll chew you up and spit you out in 1 second. You could be just flying around doing great, and you have one screw up, and then suddenly your entire troop is dead, and it's game over. I'm going to say we're going to lean on experienced, just to give us a fighting chance. And of course, survival difficulty, so you have to manage companions' hunger, fatigue, and wages daily. Not a problem for me. I'm thinking we're going to do with that one. Surviving and saving money will be a painful endeavor. That doesn't sound like it's very awesome to me. And I'm going to go to free save. We're not going to do Iron Man. No, thank you. It's Iron Man is for people who have completed a game and want to give themselves a challenge. Again, like I said, have not completed this game. So we're just going to have a little bit of fun today. Now comes the fun bit. Because now we get to choose the members of our troop. So we have a swordsman, archer, ranger, and brute. Wasn't this a wonderful little change up? And of course, the horse in the background. Horse we're going to do first. His name is going to be Goddammit. Surname Horse. Can't fit in, so just going to be Goddammit. So we get to pick traits for everybody in this game. So we can leave it at random. If you select traits, it's going to give us options for 2. And then we have to choose a negative quirk. So what we're going to do is we're going to give Goddammit, we're going to give him Brawny. We're going to give him more movement. And we're going to call him Unlucky. Critical hits. Reduced by 3%. Pony's not going to be involved in combat. You can bring your horses into combat. That is a thing, but horses are more useful at the outset as pack animals. So, we're going to leave Goddammit just the way he is. So, next thing up. Now we're going to take our merry band here. Kind of roll with what they got. I'm not going to change their appearance. Can I change their starting weapons? I can. So sword and board would be good for swordsman. Mainly because of what they have available later. Can I change the brute up around? Yes, I can, but it's just going to be a two-handed mace, which is not a bad thing. Alright, so yeah, we're going to change these guys around. Sword and board. This is going to be our tank. Tarun is going to be our tank. So for Tarun, what we're looking for is we're looking for Constitution. Hit points are great. Strength would probably be very good here as well. We could grab Volunteer, which reduces the group's wages. We shouldn't actually run into an issue where wages are a problem unless we really, really screw up. The game world gives us plenty of options to go out there and generate money and make money through exploration or doing bounties. We should be fine. So I'm going to do strong. Good constitution, good strength. And I am going to give him unlucky. So critical hits reduced by 3%. Like I mentioned earlier, the critical hit chance we can go ahead and we can deal with. We can compensate for either through stats or other things. So we also have the option to change up utility items. So he gets taunt right off the bat, which forces the target to engage and inflicts weakening on them for 1 turn. So weakening, they do 50% less damage. And we'll go from there. There's also Wrath, which deals 2 to 3 damage to the target if they have less than 50% health left. If we manage to kill somebody, then we actually gain Fury. Hey, Tassoth, welcome in. We are going to do something real quick here, because I just noticed this is something that is set up. Nobody blink. Ads have been delayed by 10 minutes here. I forgot entirely about that wonderful little thing. So yes, people just coming in here. We're going to delay ads by 10 minutes. That way there's no issue whatsoever. Gotta love YouTube. While I'm doing my explanation, because I don't like being interrupted. So yes, Wrath. If you manage to kill somebody using Wrath, this gains the unit will gain Fury, which gives them critical hit chance on their next attack. What else is there? We also have First Aid. Heals a dying ally for 10% of their max health. It also removes all stacks of poison, bleeding, and burning. Very nice to have. And of course, we're back to taunt. So, of those abilities, each one of those abilities actually requires the use of a Oh, wow, my brain just went blank. There's points you can get, like valor points you can get for resting and doing certain deeds, and like standing certain positions and whatnot when it comes down to how you position your forces at the end of each turn. You can gain temporary valor points that you can then spend for abilities in combat, or you can have set valor points where you get from resting, eating, or gear items sometimes, that allows you can spend during combat. Those non-temporary valor points do not reset until you rest. The temporary valor points will reset each time you go ahead and do an action that allows them to reset. Like, say, for example, during a level up, you assign somebody the ability that if they stand next to an ally at the end of their turn, they gain 1 temporary valor point that the rest of the party can then use. It's a great thing to have. There's a lot of synchronicity, or you have to plan your actions ahead a fair bit in this game. So we got our tank set up. Archer. You have the option to run, first aid, or aim. Deafness allows the archer to shoot twice as long distance for the next turn. So deafness, I think, is going to be a very good option. Now, for archers, we're looking at dexterity. Dexterity of 5%. Critical hits, yes. Oh my god, yes. We want crits on our archers. We want them to be terrible snipers. Not terrible snipers, but like terrible to the enemy. Whoops. As far as I'm concerned, he can be depressed. His willpower is down by 2. Willpower, like happiness, you know, if your willpower gets too low, they're probably going to leave the group. Just the same as their happiness. Might get too low, they might leave the group. Willpower we can adjust and change during level ups, and also items on that we may find in the field as well. So not too worried about that one. Our ranger or thief has the ability to stab and first aid. I'm actually not going to change that, but we will give them dexterity, because again, nimbleness for them is going to be very, very important. And I'm going to give them quick, so they get 1 more movement square. And you know what? Just because it fits, I'm going to give them +3 in wages. Somebody across the somebody on the YouTubes out there is out there screaming like, "Why would you do that? No, give them something stupid, something like willpower." It's fitting. It's fitting. And Hilda. So you have Ram, which is just a great big swing, and the beauty part of two-handed weapons, especially two-handed maces, is to do additional damage to armor. So damage is increased by 50% against units that still have armor. Great. Great. That's exactly what we want. Now, as far as the utility goes, don't want to do Taunt because he's not a tank, but we can do Wrath. I think Wrath would be very good for him. Now, as far as everything else goes, we're going to go Strong. Strength is going to be the number 1 damage influencer when it comes down to two-handed weapons. We're going to call him... I'm going to call him a volunteer. He's going to get 10% reduced wages. And he's going to have reduced carrying capacity. Nothing wrong with that, right? Hopefully. Maybe. I'm actually going to go back to Tarun here, and I'm going to give him... no, I'm not going to change anything here. We're going to call this good. There it is. There's our group. Tarun, Milt, Hetalud, Heldar, and goddammit in the background. I think that'd be a good start. And like I said, this is going to be an open world environment. So yeah, your companions are off in search of adventure. After a few days of quietly traveling alone, their only feat was not getting lost, and they have reached their destination. Here surely awaits some novel and exciting quest that will stir up the uneventful lives of bored apprentices. Adventure awaits at the end of the road, for those who make it there alive, that is. So right off the bat, here's the world map. Nothing too fancy. We can kind of go ahead and spin everything around, have a good look around us. There are resources on the world map we're going to try and pick up as we go. Like, for example, there's some iron here. I believe there's hidden... And this was what sucks about the world map, is you have to kind of keep an eye out, but some items are hidden, and you can't zoom in. You just have to be very careful and watch what you're looking for. So we picked up some flowers, comfreys, so we can use these in alchemy and making potions and stuff like that. But this is our starting materials. We have 15 items we can use for repairs for items and armor. We have 5 bottles of medicine, and yes, doesn't matter how much health, a bottle of medicine is used each time you go ahead and have to heal somebody. So, these are very, very expensive and very, very hard to make until a little bit later in the game. We also have 12 apples, 12 bread, and a carrying capacity of 83 pounds. Sounds about right. Cap item, we can go, cap function, sorry. We can go ahead and get into whenever we actually want. It doesn't have to do anything unless we actually hit the rest option, but it does allow us to hop in and have a look around our current campsites. As you can see, there's nothing really influential in the area we're in. We're kind of in open plains, but we do have a workshop. So we can assign a tinker to produce 2 materials during each rest period. Which kind of leads the question of who wants to be our tinkerer. Well, we could open up our items or our profiles here. Apologies. Maybe I shouldn't have had pizza before going live stream. But we do have a profession we can choose from. Now we have a set profession. As you can see, I was really off on the number of professions. There's about 11 professions you can do, and we only have access to 1. Now, tinkerers give you professions will give you additional bonus stats. For a tinkerer, we get critical hit plus 2%. That sounds like it'd be great on our archer. That's our ranger. Milt, our archer. Give him a bonus of critical hit percent chance. We'll take it. Never a wrong time for pizza. Oh, right up until about the time you got to start talking. Then it might be a little bit more of a problem. But we don't only just assign professions. We actually have to assign the guys to get to work on the profession. So I'll take Milt. I'll drag him away from the fire. Put him right up on the table here. And now the next time we rest, we'll generate 2 materials. Even better, if we use the workshop with our assigned Tinker and Novus, we can build items. Like we can build torches, lockpicks. Pythons are good for traveling around the world map. If we get up to a high spot, we can put down a python and a rope and climb down the side of the hill, and we can also go back up it again. So we can actually make shortcuts if we ever need to. Fish hooks are needed for fishing out in the world. Rope. Rope has many uses. Like I just explained, you can use it with a python to generate a shortcut in the world map. Also, you can use rope as a way to capture animals or capture enemies in combat. And yes, you can actually, like say for example, you come across a bunch of brigands, you get them down in health enough, you can actually capture them as long as you have spare rope in hand and tie them up. And then you can take them to the nearest town or prison facility and sell your prisoners. It's a great way to do it. So, that's always the thing. You also get access to tents. So, this generates additional what did I say they were? Valor. Yes, additional valor points. So, this increases our valor points restored by +1 for each rest. And it also increases our maximum valor points by +1. These are important. Again, like I said, valor points are required in order for you to do special abilities in combat. You want to keep that in the back of your mind. Your valor points are very, very, very important. Hitching post. This is good for ponies. So you can go ahead and build this. All we need is wood, rope, and some salt. Ponies assigned to the hitching post gain +10 to their carrying capacity, which is great. We can also build a cooking pot, which allows us to assign someone the profession of a cook. which reduces our daily food consumption by 2. And it allows us to go ahead and make very fulfilling meals. Like, for example, if we eat this apple, this only gives us food of +2. We put it in a pie, it gives us +6. Not bad. And of course, we get a camp chest. So, this is for, say, if we have a thief in the party. We can go ahead and assign the thief to the camp chest. And what he'll do is he'll passively sell off stolen items over the course of the game each time we rest. So that way we don't actually have to deal with any sort of black market stuff during our time in town. Or run the risk of having sort of issues like that. So, you can't sell it in bulk, but he does sell it little by little. So, kind of cool stuff to do in the background here. With that being said, we're not going to rest because we're brand new. We're going to wander on over here for our iron. And it's probably going to trigger... Yeah, here we go. Okay. We're going to engage these guys. Level 1, Hoodlum and Poacher. Go ahead and get this fight rolling, shall we? So yeah, when your turn comes around, you can play any unit you haven't used yet in the round. And you can find out which enemy will then come to play. Prepare your strategy accordingly. So, right off the bat, we can adjust how our positions are in combat. We have access to all these little blue squares we move our guys around to as needed. Here's a poacher. He's on this turntable, so he's going to be acting after we act twice. And then the hoodlum here is going to act. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's any spot right next to the poacher we can set somebody up on. Huh. So we'll make some adjustments here. How we want to engage. Ideally, I want to try and tie up any range units they have right off the bat. If a ranged unit is tied up in melee, they cannot shoot their bow or their ranged weapon. Very, very important. It reduces them down to hand-to-hand combat. And if they don't have a spare weapon equipped, it's usually fists. So you take a weapon that may cause 10 damage and reduce it down to a weapon that causes 1 damage. Very, very important to keep that in mind. So right off the bat, our thief will not be able to engage the archer. And he's the one with +1. Yikes. Okay, so well played. Archer is out of range. That means someone is going to get hit really, really hard, unfortunately. So what I'm actually going to do... So I'm actually going to move everybody out of the way. And hopefully he won't have time. Or he won't be able to reach out and hit anybody. Unless we do this properly. So I'm going to take my tank. Turn. You're going to engage the hoodlum. So once we've engaged, the enemy is now bound to us. So if they try and run away, that gives us an attack of opportunity, which is quite beneficial. It's a free attack as they try to run, which is usually quite lethal and not exactly a good idea. They can also only engage whoever they're engaged with unless they have an area of attack weapon, like say a sledgehammer or a sword or a great sword, sorry, or a great mace. And it does allow us the chance to do backstrikes. So if I had Kettlute here run around the back, we would actually get crit damage for doing a backstrike. Not only that, but if we were to add another person here, we could even surround this individual and increase the damage done to him that way. Before we can do anything, though, we have to make sure we end our turn. And what I'm going to do... I think everyone's got 5 armor, they do. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to close with Heldar. And I'm going to do an area attack swing. As you can see, if I'm not careful, there's a very good chance I could actually hit my own guy. Do not want. Do not want. So I just want to make sure I tag this guy here. For 8 damage. Increased damage because he had just a little bit of armor left, which is beautiful. And allow me to explain why I moved these two here in the position that they are. Because now the poacher is going to go. The poacher can approach But the only two people you should be able to shoot at are Heldar and Terun. And they have his buddy between them and the poacher. So if he shoots at either of these two, there is a chance the poacher will actually tag his friend. Allow me to show you. Just like that. So, beauty part, free damage. Now, it works the exact same way on our end. Milt, our archer, can take a shot at the hoodlum, but it's only going to be a 10% hit chance. Meanwhile, there's a 44% chance I'm going to hit Terun, and a 46% chance I'm going to hit Heldar. So, I have to be careful with this as well. Now, there's a couple things I can do. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't matter what game we're playing. Don't hit your friends is a very good game to play. Now, if I can get around these guys, then there's a chance that I might get a clear shot. That being said, there's also a relationship thing between the members of your party. If your members of your party start hitting each other, there is going to be a little bit of an issue where they might get upset with each other and start hating each other and might start having fights and stuff like that. So you kind of want to keep an eye on that one. Conversely, there's also a chance that your party members will gain abilities to mitigate issues of self-inflicted injuries. Like, say, for example, in my previous game, my tank had been shot in the back by their archer friend. That tank then gained the ability Eyes in the back of his head, which then made him immune to friendly range fire. So I could actually sit back and snipe through my tank at my target each and every time. And I'm slightly curious if I can replicate that issue. Alright, so from this angle, I have a 77% chance to hit the hoodlum and a 23% chance to hit my tank. I'm going to take the shot, because like I said, if I hit my friend tank in the back, what are the chances that he's actually going to get the ability, Eyes in the back of his head, and makes him immune from friendly range fire? I don't know. It's all random. Doesn't matter anyways, that was a hell of a shot. And there we go. All that's left now is we'll bring our thief up. He's still outside of range. But now, a new round is starting. Everybody gets to go before the ranger does. And I'm pretty sure the ranger's going to have a bad time. In fact, I know he's about to have a bad time. Because he's about to be swarmed. Alright, so all the armor's off the ranger now. So I know Heldar won't be doing bonus damage. So what I am going to do is I'm going to focus on bringing Ketelude over. Why? Because there's a wonderful exposed back here. I think it would be very great to have some increased damage for a backstab. Just like that. Flawless victory. So, once we're done, we do get access, of course, to whatever the thieves had or whatever the enemy party had. We gain some experience, some influence, and some items. So what do we get? We got some cloth, which is good for crafting. We got a new dagger, which we probably pretty good for Ketelude, and 11 gold. We also gain access to the remains of our enemies. That seems a little weird to some, mainly because there's an option for cannibalism that you can take in the event that, say, for example, food is awful scarce, or you want to play as cannibals. I'm not saying no, but I'm not taking bodies. Sorry, this is not going to work. We've also gained a level up for Heldar, but I'm actually going to not level Heldar up for a very good reason. And that reason lies, where is it? No, not here. In our knowledge. Knowledge is something we learn about. We can learn through doing certain actions like crafting or finding map markers, stuff like that. There is an option here for career paths. This takes 2 knowledge points. We want to save our knowledge points until we get this option. I see you don't have to worry about a stack hole. To be fair, I have not made it very far in this game yet, so I don't know if there's enemies that explode out there. So the stack pole threat might still be very real. Talking about career paths, as you can see here, you can spend influence to add 1 extra number to an aptitude when leveling up. So let's say, for example, if Haldar were to get an option for +1 strength, I could spend 10 influence and make that +1 turn into a +2 strength, which is great. So I'm going to save my knowledge points until we get 2, and then I'm going to unlock career paths. And as you can see here, you get options like, say, for all your other professions that pop up here, where you can spend knowledge points to learn how to do things. Like I can create saddlebags for the horses, which increase the carrying capacity +10. And there's a whole lot of unlearned or unknown items here too. I have to find them or unlock them through crafting or find crafting recipes. I can even, for example, learn to build a campfire, which an improved campfire generates more happiness when we rest. Same with the workshop. I can now, if I upgrade the workshop, I can now dismantle lower grade weapons and armor and generate materials. Cool. I can improve my tents, hitching posts, cooking pots, everything. So there's quite a few things here. And of course, if I wanted to be a masochist, I could set up a whip section to whip people to encourage them to work harder. We're not going to do that. I don't even know what that requires. We're not going to do it. Anyways, I would like my iron, please. 2 iron. All right. There. Just like that, we found Plateau Stables and we gained 50 points of knowledge. Let's duck our heads into Plateau Stables and see exactly what's going on. So this is very, very important, because this is what some of the screens for interaction look like whenever you go to locations. You have to be very diligent, because there are going to be some items on the map that you can grab from only specific locations. Like for these plains areas, you can see that there's hemp. I can grab that, add it to my inventory, no problem. Only 1, not 2. Boo. There's also items you can interact with inside buildings, like say, for example, I can inspect its barrel. And there's leather and immortal blooms in there, but if I were to take them, that would be stealing. And that would increase my level of suspicion. As you can see, wanted levels 1 to 5 stars. We don't want to deal with bounty hunters. I'll tell you that right now for free. But we will go and kind of give the rest of the area a look. Now there is wheat. That's stealing though. Nothing real special here. But we can talk to Ignic.
When I think of how many people don't shoe their ponies, it makes me want to pull out the little hair I have left. Tell you what, buy a horse from us, and I'll throw in the horseshoes for free.
Hey, Tom, welcome in. It's a fun game when I played a while ago. Good to see you streaming. Well, you know, I did promise I was going to do a stream at some point. Real life has this nasty habit of getting in the way for the most bit. But, you know, try and get it done when we can. And I figured Wartales might actually be something kind of a nice break from BattleTech anyways. Just to kind of give everyone a nice little breather. Fresh breath of fresh air. Yeah, there you go. And something a little different. So we can buy horseshoes, which increase movement speed in the world by 3%. Or we can buy a pony, and they'll throw it in for free. The ponies themselves, we can have a talk to them, see exactly which one we want. You can also inspect each one to see what kind of special abilities they have. This pony is bloodthirsty. He likes critical hits. He's also very brawny. So good for hauling. And he's got a mean streak to him. Cool. He's also about 180 gold. We don't have a whole lot of gold. So it's not going to be an option at the moment here. Don't I know? I've been trying to keep with RT. I've been watching most of them, but I usually am watching them from my bed on the TV, so I can't comment. Don't worry, man. Don't worry. It's how things are. It's the way life goes sometimes. I do appreciate you watching it, though. I do appreciate the support. As long as you stay interested and as long as you stay happy, I'll be more than happy to keep on doing it.
Although the war in Edarin has been a boon for my business, I cannot help but feel for my poor ponies. I can tell you aren't soldiers. Take them with you if you can. Otherwise, they would most likely end up dead on the battlefield through no fault of their own.
So, yeah, she's asking us to make sure we buy her ponies, which would be great. It's 180 gold. I don't have 180 gold, so sorry, lady, I can't buy your horses. But we are going to come back here when we do get the money, because we are going to need more carrying capacity. And it's certainly going to have to be a thing. As you can also see here, I don't know if you saw it before I did, there's actually an item in the woods. I believe these are mushrooms, so we can forage a little bit for food items. But the big thing to keep in mind is, again, we have to keep a sharp eye out for any items out in the world. Now, the beauty part of moving through the forest, too, you actually gain the ability to ambush your enemies if you stay hidden long enough. Like, say, for example, we move through the trees, and it gives us the ambush status. There, ambusher. We can actually dive out of the trees and hit one of these trade convoys and ambush them for all this this fun stuff. Is the world randomly generated? As far as I can tell, I don't believe it is. I think there are... Well, no, that's a lie. The resources are randomly generated for the most bit as you pick them up, and then they might respawn in different places. But I think the world events are set in stone. The towns, I don't believe, move at all, so I guess not really randomly generated. But like I said, you can hop out of the forest here and hit these guys and ambush them for other trades. We're not going to do that because, again, we don't want to deal with bounty hunters. And now, because we found Storm Cop, we've gained another 80 experience or knowledge points. It's brought us up to the next level. Yeah, exactly. I don't think it is. Like, the location of some random resources, yes, those are randomly generated. But as far as everything else goes, everything else I think is the exact same. Watch the RT videos when I'm on the treadmill. Hey, you know what? If I can help you make a good, healthy life choice, then yay. That's a good choice, exactly. So, once we're in the city here, we got a couple options of things we can look at. We have access to the tavern, access to the apothecary. This derelict tavern is actually part of a DLC I do not have. So you have the option of like buying a tavern and then running a tavern and doing the tavern things where you're the boss, your own boss, so you want to try and generate money. We also have Three Hares Market, Town Hall, and the Forge. Swing by the Town Hall first. And just like everything we go to, want to check the area, make sure there's nothing here. Give it a spin. Doesn't look like it. All right, let's talk to the mayoress.
Are you mercenaries? I'll have you know that we do not take kindly to refugees in these parts.
Well, good for you.
Why, you ask? Because they have overrun our streets and are now taking to the roads. Edarin is sending our way anything with legs and a mouth that cannot wield a sword. You have your work cut out for you. There is no lack of honest folk in need of help to fend off the refugee menace.
All right, so just to bring up everybody on a little bit of lore, there's a couple territories that are currently at war. Let me see if I can pull this up on a map. So, Tiltren County is an independent state, and it's having its neighbors push all the refugees out of their territories and into Tiltren. It's not the refugees' fault. It's just the way that the things go. If you can't fight, you're no good to anybody, so get the heck out of here and go be somebody else's burden. It's not their fault. Let's swing by the forge. Now this. Oh, buddy. This.
You can use my anvil. I can also repair your armor. Oh, and I'm looking to hire a skilled blacksmith, if you happen to know one.
So he's looking for a blacksmith to hire. He also sells raw materials and coal. Coal is required for some of the upgradable items in our camp. Even better, raw materials. If I could buy all of these, that's gonna be 100. I'm gonna buy 5. You also have the option to steal. We're not, again, like I said, we're not gonna be doing that. And before I forget, let's go to Ketelude and switch out these daggers. So the current dagger he's got, or sorry, she's got, is a rusty shiv. Dex +2 and gives you the stab skill. This other one is dexterity +3 and gives the ability to poison people. Now, if I really wanted to, oh no, that's not an offhand weapon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this dagger. No need for it with the upgrade. And it's just taking up weight and space in our backpack. Plus,
You can use my
I could sell for 16 gold.
I can also repair your armor. Oh, and
Now, by clicking on the forge, we unlock the profession for blacksmith. So let's go ahead and spend some time and have a look around. I believe blacksmith gives you +2 strength. So if we go to Heldar, +1 strength, sorry. You give him blacksmith. We can access the forge and have a look around at what we could possibly make. So right now, the only thing we make is offhand weapons like throwing knives, sickles, and hatchets. So when held in the offhand, this actually increases our critical hit chance by 3%. Throwing sickle gives us +4 guard, and throwing hatchet increases our critical damage by 5%. Pretty neat. We can also build a targ if we had some more wood and leather, which we don't. And we can build some base armor or rags if we had some leather, which again, we don't. That being said too, we could also unlock some more things. Like say, once we build some of the items on the list, this unlocks additional things we can go ahead and build. And it also gives us a chance to rank up our apprenticeship level and allows us to build more in-depth items. So, unfortunately, we can't do it now. So just peace on out and move on to the next area, which would be the apothecary. So here at the apothecary, we can buy.
My concoctions can heal the most grievous injuries. Be sure to hold on to the vials after using them.
So we can buy more medicine. Medicine costs 39 gold per item. Again, very, very, very expensive. We want to be able to make as much as we possibly want. Now, in order to make any sort of concoction, you need empty vials. And as we use our medicine, we'll actually store the vials, so it's not a complete loss. Like say, for example, we use 1 medicine, that leaves us with 4 medicine and 1 empty vial. So if we find the items to actually build or use our apothecary to make medicine, we can make 1 more medicine because we have 1 empty vial. And away you go. Same thing for a cure for the plague. 60 gold. Fish oil. And of course, a couple of recipes. We've got strength oil. Sharpening oil. And of course, strength oil and sharpening oil here alone. 83 and 84 gold by themselves. Very expensive. That being said, though, let's go ahead and unlock the profession alchemist and start playing. The reason I didn't get deep into this game is I feel like it came out around Baldur's Gate 3 did, and playing 2 of the same never works for me. Wartales was actually out before Baldur's Gate. Yeah. I think at least a year. But I understand fully and completely. Like Wartales itself was something that a lot of people never really paid much attention to, which is a shame, because I think it's a good game. And they may have watched some other people play it on YouTube, maybe saw somebody else playing it, I don't know. But never really sold, I guess you could say, like a AAA game. But yes, I will agree, like between this and Baldur's Gate 3, if you have two games of the same kind of style, I guess you could say, then yeah, obviously if you're going to play one, then you kind of lose interest in playing the other. Because it's the exact same, so you might as well be playing the first one, right? So. I think you started playing it around the same time. Okay, there you go. I thought it was like open beta kind of zone for, yeah, like, I think Wartales spent a year in open beta? Somewhere around there. But, yeah, either way. Either way, it's a good game. And yes, I will agree that, yeah, like you said, if you're playing both at the same time, yeah, it's kind of hard for you to kind of really get into it. Now, with our Alchemist, gives you +1 dexterity. We're going to give it to our Ranger. I was thinking about giving it to the Archer, but the Archer could probably use critical hit chance more. So now, if we find a table, or if we generate one for our camp, we can actually build apothecary items. So for medicine, we need an empty vial, 2 snow iris, and 2 comfrey. So we already got one item of what we need. We're only about 25% of the way. 20% of the way there. Yep. Divide by 5, soul. You can do math. So we don't have all the items as of yet. Let's swing by the Three Hares Market and have us a look around here as what's going on. So we have us a couple refugees sitting around.
Can you spare some food?
If I give him 1 piece of bread, it give me 10 influence. It's actually not bad.
Thank you so much. I will pray for you.
And how about you?
For a few crowns, I can polish your armor. Please. I'm so hungry.
I'm so hungry. Far 10 gold.
Here we go. A little spit and polish here and there. Done. So shiny I could go blind just looking at it. Thank you for all the money. It will be well spent.
Yeah, thief and prick. Well, he took 10 extra gold, so I'll keep him in my mind's eye. That's why you gotta be careful every now and then, ladies and gentlemen. Not every good deed goes unpunished.
Come. Take a look at my wares.
So this guy's got leather. He's got hemp. He's got cloth, and he's got rope, as well as a barber kit. So if we ever want to make a change to our character's looks, we just go here, buy one of these kits. And he's got trade items, which we're not ready for trade as of yet. So, that being said, I know we could use some leather. But we gotta be real careful here. Because I still want to talk to these guys.
I understand there's a war in Edoran, but that doesn't mean they can just help themselves.
That's fair. What I am going to do is I'm going to buy your salt. All your salt. Now I'm going to be very cautious. There's the meat vendor, and there should be a vegetable vendor here.
You touch it, you buy it.
Fair enough. But we're not going to buy anything else from here. We're going to leave. I'm going to swing by the inn, and this is where the hub of all of our information comes in. Like, for example, the lady in green here, she's a guild officer who gives out bounties and everything, so we can go ahead and make a little bit of money. There's usually about 2 or 3 other people in the bar here who we can hire. And the informant is someone who gives you some information about things you don't really know about yet for a price, if you want to try and get a little bit ahead of the game. We're going to ignore the informant.
Say, it's not often you see new faces around here. Well, apart from the Edoranian War refugees, that is.
So we do have options of buying some recipes, like apple pancakes, culture shock, which is mutton stew, apple pancake, and brandy times 6, and a brewing vat. Oh, okay, so this is for our camp, which allows one of our guys to be a brewer, who can then generate brandies or whiskeys, which then we can either drink or sell at a premium. That requires a fair bit of wood, though. We don't have that. He also has chef's platter. So as you can see here, some meals do grant you kind of some sort of bonuses. Like for the chef's platter, this increases security in the camp by 20%. Lasts until the next rest. So where we had the issue of being potentially ambushed, increased by 10%, this would offset it by another 10. So like it wouldn't happen. So we're not going to be buying anything food here.
Come back often. There's always folk looking for work around here, especially since all the fighting started across the border.
We can also rest here for 44 gold, which is very, very expensive. We're not going to worry about that, but we are going to look for some missions.
Might you be looking for work? Our role as emissaries is to ensure that all service requests are fulfilled. We regularly update our job offers.
I would very much like to see what you have for work. So, the Ferdinand gang must have inconvenienced the wrong person, and now someone is willing to pay you to get rid of them for 185 gold. Easy mission. I'm going to take that right off the bat. Even better, shows us exactly where it is on the world map compared to our position, which is neat. West of town, southwest of town. Desperate refugees. Okay, we can grab this one as well. That one's way off to the east. Ew. And we can grab the last easy mission here. Dolan gang. Lots to the north. Alright. We got some easy ones around us. That being said, we might as well get to work. Let us depart. So, one gang to the northwest, one gang to the southwest, and refugees far, far, far off to the east. Time to hit the road. Oh, and there's something off here in the bushes. Mushrooms or wood? Wood, yay. None of that, but you can actually trade with some people here. Just by clicking on them on the map.
Might I interest you in my humble wares?
And they have some pretty cool items. Like, for example, we have poetry books, fish hooks, Alzazarian power, alchemical residue, mountain willows, and marsh parsley. None of what you were looking for. Now, hold on a second here. This gentleman. You! You sack of garbage.
You? How did you find me?
I'm gonna get my money back.
Please don't hurt me.
I'm not gonna kill you. You got nothing. And I got my money back. Pound sand and bugger off, bud. A little more wood, a little more resin. Swing by the lumber mill here and see what's going on. Hey, some hemp. We'll grab that. Nothing else on the outside. I don't want to steal.
I am terribly sorry, mercenaries, but there is nothing of interest for you here.
Okay.
This is but a simple sawmill, and I am its humble owner.
Okay. Okay. Yes, there is an ornate key here. And I'm going to say I don't want to do this just yet. I'm going to say I don't want to do this just yet because we are going to get killed. Okay. First things first. Woodcutter. Profession unlocked. Strength +1. I believe that's profession for everybody. So some locations will have a stump out front where you can cut wood. This is free wood. Don't turn it down. So, I'm going to place a cursor on the wood cutting circle and press the button when the green circle overlaps the gray one to gather more wood. Quick time events. Gotta love it. Whoa! Tom, thank you very much for the gifted membership. Don't need to do that, but I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Nickma. Don't forget to let Tom know. Thank you. All right, let's see if I can actually do this. Yes, 1. Almost screwed that one up. Oh, that's a lot smaller. There we go. 8 wood. We're going to gift the subs has got to go out so I can't target, but either way, enjoy. Thank you very much, Tom. I do appreciate that. I do hope that wherever you're off to, have a little fun and have a little rest every now and then. And we'll see you on the flip. Alright, so we're not going to do this just yet. We're going to come back to that. Because we need some better, well, levels. I guess is the right word for it. But we are going to go after this guy. As you can see, he's a contract here. So this should be our gang that we're looking for. You betcha. So we got a gang leader, a hoodlum, and a poacher. Easy money. So they got leader's aggression. Critical hits increased by 30%. I'm not familiar with the game, but if you hold down Alt, you can see items hiding in the grass. Huh. So. That's a thing. Where I'm going, just picking my girl up, leave this open low so you get the view. Thank you very much, Tom. I do appreciate it. So, there you go. Hold down Alt, you can see everything that's going on in the world. So what do we got? We got a bear trap. Don't want to walk on that one. I'll cause heavy damage to one of our guys. Polance's plant saw. There you go. I see what you're trying to throw down there, sir. Some other items on the map, like for combat, like this comfrey. If for some odd reason we take a critical hit and are dying, when you're dying, you can't actually do any other action except for run away. We can run over to one of these comfreys and use it and restore some health, and even deal with some poison, bleeding, or burning damage. And of course, there's a couple items on the map as well. These spears, you run over to them, grab them, pick them up, and throw them. But unfortunately, you can only throw them in the area that they're highlighting. So these are actually not exactly very useful to us. So, that being said, where is everybody? So we got 2 thieves here. Hoodlum is the one who acts first. And Dailoon acts second. And I'm going to probably want to tie Dailoon up. Because I can. What's the best way to do this? I think that is the best way to do this. And of course, the poacher in the back, he doesn't go until a couple turns in. I'm going to have Keteloo deal with him. But we want to tie up the leader. Tie the leader up. Ah, now we're poisoned. That's alright. I shan't be too worried. Tank is a tank for a reason. We are going to devastate this guy's armor. Ow, that crit. That crit's put us in a little bit of trouble. Ranger locked down. Ranger is now poisoned. And Archer. We're going to need you to support our good friend here, Tarun. Really? You have a 12% chance of actually hitting your friend? Ugh. I don't want that. There we go. All right, new round. So this is going to cause 1 damage at the end of each turn. They do 9 damage to all units in the area. Damage increased by 25% against poison units. Terror might actually wind up having a problem here very shortly. I think we may have to free people up here very quick. It's 5 to 6 damage. Gains fury. I'll take it. Damage of the next attack increased by 50%. I can still tag him. Not quite fully engaged, but I can still tag him. 50% increase. Let's see if we get lucky. 12 damage. I'm not worried about the ranger. Now, Tarun. I'm going to use weakening. Because I don't think we're going to kill him this turn. And I want his damage reduced by 50%. So he doesn't straight up kill me. Alright, dealt with the archer. Galvanization. That increases our damage by 50%, which is very nice. So we need this guy gone. Oops.